within the first 30 to 40 pages, when the toys that you're looking at, 85% are not sponsored toys listings. So 15% of the listings are sponsored, and the price range for the sponsored versus non-sponsored is given here. This varies from 35 to um, 999, so that's around 10,000 rupees for non-sponsored, and the price for sponsored ranges from 129 to around 22,000. So that's the proportions. If you pay for advertisement, then these are the people that are uh, paying for advertising their listing in that search results to get more people interacting with them and maybe increase the sales. And here is the distribution of price for sponsored versus not sponsored listings in the data set that we are looking at. So uh, overall, it seems that the prices of the products that are sold, most of the products or let's say a vast majority of them have price less than 500 rupees. And here the blue curve shows the uh, data for not sponsored, and the orange one shows the data for the prices coming from listings that are sponsored, paid by seller to show up in the results. So the peak of the sponsored is slightly to the right of this, but still we can based on this we can just say that uh, the price is almost similar for the sponsored and non-sponsored. You would think that if if I'm paying for a product to show up in the listing, maybe to account for that cost, I could add maybe a small fraction to the price so that pays for the advertisement. But here we see that the price is almost the same for uh, both of these categories. So if if I'm trying to come into the toy market and trying to sell a product, then I would be uh, positioning the product such that its price is below 500, maybe even near 400-ish. So that's just uh, my thought process when looking at this particular result. And in this plot, what we are looking at is just the results for bestseller listings for toys in each of those 10 categories. So here we can see that again, if we are looking at just the bestsellers, now 60% of the sellers here have less than 10 items. Vast majority, 30%, is by just one seller, and then these are 1% to 2% by these additional sellers. So a big chunk of items that are listed as best seller items in each of those 10 toy categories are by the seller Cloudtail India. And moving on, now we're switching gears a little bit. So if you're ever thought of the country of origin for the toys that are sold, uh, what proportion is imported and what proportion is manufactured within the country. So this is what I saw. If you look at all the results on the left hand side, which includes sponsored plus non-sponsored listings of toys in each of those 10 categories. So here we have 65% were manufactured within India, and then 33% were imported from China, 1% from Hong Kong, and then the remaining 1% were from other countries. if we now look at, so this got me thinking that, okay, if this is the case with all items, what does this proportion look like if we look at only the sponsored item? So uh, if I'm was thinking that if the sponsored items are there, maybe their proportions could vary. But if we see in this particular right hand plot, almost 72% are from within India, and then 27% are imported from China, and then remaining 2% are imported from other countries. So the proportion stays roughly the same, 70 to 30%, 70 within India, and then 30% imported. Now, if we look at again the bestseller country of origin, so in the previous the case, we looked at all items. Uh, this includes sponsored, bestsellers, everything, non-sponsored. This was only sponsored. Now we are looking at only the best sellers. So if we look at just bestsellers, again the proportion stays the same. 70% is from India, and then 30% is imported. So among that, 29% of the bestseller items that are listed on Amazon.in are imported from China. Then a fraction of that remaining fraction is imported from Hong Kong and other countries as shown here. And uh, now thinking about country of origin, you'd think that the prices of, could vary based on where the product was sourced from. So if you're sourcing from a specific country, then the price may be higher as compared to the price of toys that were manufactured within India. So here we can see that uh, the toys that are imported from the US, they seem to have a higher price, although the number of products imported from US that were listed in the first 30 to 40 pages of the search that I did, they were very few. But still, we can see that if they were listed, then the price is definitely higher than the toys that are either imported from other countries such as Hong Kong, Canada, Vietnam, Thailand, China, or they are manufactured from India. And a vast majority, as we can see here, 70 30% lies in these two boxes on the left hand side, and each of these dot represents a listing. And we can see the spread of the data, so spread of the price, and it ranges all the way up to 3000 per toy, but a vast majority seems to be somewhere within this range, under 1000 for these two countries, India and China. And the prices are about the same. If we uh, there is the India price seems to be lower, but not sure if that would be the case if you look at all the in the entire data set. We are just looking at 10,000 posts here. So let's say the prices are similar. Now, if you look at the color of toys, you ever wondered if what could be the distribution of colors of toys that are listed? Is there any preference to a specific color? So here we can see that 66% of the toys are multicolor. So multicolor as in they have more than one color. It could be rainbow colors, or it could be a combination of just two or three colors. So 66%. So if I'm going to try to sell a toy on Amazon, then uh, I think that that toy would have uh, a better chance of being sold if it is a multicolor toy. And that would also mean that we'll have more competition. If you look at just a single color, then 6% of the toys are pink. In this data set, 4% are blue, and then you have 3% yellow, 3% black and white, 2% red, and so on. So that's pretty interesting to see what is the importance of color of toys that people like, and it seems that most of the people like multicolored toys. Uh, by that I mean most of the children like multicolored toys. And now moving on, let's look at the materials of toys. So the data set is very small. So of all the 10 to 11,000 uh, posts that I collected, we have only 64 here for the material data. And that's because this particular field was blank in most of the cases. So the only data I had was these 64 records. But still, it's interesting to see what type of material is used in manufacturing toys that are being sold. So here we can see right out the gate is 50%, almost 50% of the toys are plastic. And then we have the remaining 50% that is shown here. So we have plush. Plush means again, it could be again plastic, different type of plastic, polyester, and then we have ABS plastic, acrylic. There is wood 5%, silicone 5%, etc. Now this distribution may not be the same if you look at a much larger data set. So that's just to keep in mind. This is a very small sample of 64, and we may be there's not much to interpret from this except saying that most of the toys are likely, if you buy a toy from Amazon, then most likely it's going to be made from plastic or any a different type of plastic. So here I'm saying that polyester is also a type of plastic, silicone is also a type of plastic, and so on. So that's the case. And 5% are made from wood, 2% are made from metal. That's interesting. And then we have 2% that are made from paper. So 2% from rubber. So that's interesting to think about. If I'm trying to come into the market with a toy, and if I'm looking for a lesser competition, then uh, I'll be probably choose a material that's uh, not plastic, if that's possible. But then that's again going to affect the cost of the toy. Remember, in earlier we saw that the cost has to be uh, um, could ideally the cost should be less than 500 because that's the range most of the toys are being sold at. That's something interesting that I thought of. Now, for each of those listings, there is a return policy for the item that is sold. So if I buy a toy on Amazon, then some sellers would give a 7 days replacement. Uh, some give 7 days return. It could be 10 days. Some would give no returns. So uh, there are different types available. And what this particular chart is showing is that 90%, so most of the sellers, they allow the customers to return the toys if they don't like it. So if I buy a toy from Amazon, and the chances are that if uh, if the toy is if somebody I bought the toy for doesn't like the toy and I need to return it, then chances are that I'll be able to easily return the toy. And along those same lines, if I'm trying to sell a toy on Amazon, then I'd to increase the sales or to increase customer satisfaction, I would uh, allow this particular option that the customer should be able to return the toy within 7 days if they are not satisfied with it. And very few, very less than 1% have on the policy as 7 days replacement only. So if you buy a toy, then if a part of it is missing or part of it is broken or you just don't like it, you can get a replacement of the same toy, but you cannot return it and get your refund. So you cannot get your money back. But most of the sellers seem to have a policy where they can return your money back if you don't like the toys. And along those same lines, 95% of the toys are Amazon delivered. So uh, this, from what I read, Amazon delivered means that Amazon would pick the toy from the seller and then transport it to the customer's location and deliver it to the customer. So that's my interpretation. So 95% choose Amazon delivered, Amazon delivery. So if I'm trying to sell, I'll probably go for this option for delivering the packages to the customer. And there are 5% that do not use this method of delivery. So likely that these sellers ship the packages via maybe different couriers or uh, different shipping methods to get them to the customers. And if they are returned, then those couriers would return them back to the seller. Whereas in case of Amazon delivered, that transport back and forth would be handled by Amazon. Now there is another option, Amazon fulfilled. So the difference as compared to Amazon delivered, this is what I understand. I may be completely off here, but in case of Amazon fulfilled, the the toys would be stored at Amazon warehouse and not at the seller's facility. So the seller would store everything at Amazon's warehouse, and if a customer buys a product, buys a toy, then Amazon would pack it, label it, ship it directly from their warehouse to the customer. And if there are any returns, then Amazon would handle the returns and either put bring that back to the warehouse, or it could be shipped back to the seller based on what option the seller has chosen. So 76% do not opt for this particular method. That tells me that most of the sellers choose to store the inventory of the toys uh, with at their location, and this is probably to reduce the cost for storage with warehouse. And 20%, 21% do store with Amazon warehouses. 3% is unknown. So if you have a set of toys, if I have a set of uh, toy inventory that I know is going to sell like hotcakes, then I'll probably go and put them in Amazon inventory. But if I know that I'm not sure if it will get sold or not, then I'd rather stick to storing it at my location rather than paying for the inventory charges in a warehouse. That's what I'm thinking looking at these two slides right here. And during the current COVID pandemic, uh, here we can see that almost all of the sellers, 93% of them, do do provide an option of no contact delivery when buying on Amazon website. So no contact delivery method is, as I understand, the delivery person will come to your doorstep. He'll put the he or she would put the package uh, on some place, and they won't hand over it to you. Rather, it's a no contact. So they put it on a table, let's say, and then you go after that person leaves. You can go and pick that from the table. That's just a no contact delivery. That's what I'm thinking about this. So if I'm looking to sell something, this is something I'll provide the customers. Now, another interesting part on payment of delivery, payment method when a customer buys a toy on Amazon, pay on delivery. So uh, 40% of the sellers do allow the customers to pay when the product reaches their doorstep. So if I buy a toy on Amazon, then I don't have to pay online using a credit card or any other method. I can just simply place an order. The toy would be shipped to me, and after the toy arrives at my location, then I can pay for that either in cash or maybe credit card or debit card, etc. So 40% do allow that. Uh, so that's something to think about, and 60% allowed other payment methods.